Yo, what is going on YouTube? I am Germ here. In this video today, we're going to be talking about some news coming out of the LEC. This is a couple days ago now at this point, so it's not like breaking news or anything like that, but it's still stories that I want to cover, and it's still things that I definitely have opinions on, and maybe have flown under the radar a little bit. Maybe it's stuff you have or haven't heard of. I'm going to be talking about Astralis today and their roster moves. Now, of course, Astralis is not the most exciting team in the world. It's not the best team to like clickbait on YouTube or anything like that, but they are still a member of the LEC. They're one of the 10 teams. There's not even that many spots, but also there's just so many criticisms for how they've been roster building, the certain types of players and stuff that they've gone after, whether or not they should get kicked out of the LEC, whether they're just sitting on their spot, should K-Corp get in for them, Koi get in for them, whatever, all these different things going around. So I've been pretty vocal and critical about, the things that Astralis has been doing, but they were ready to make some changes headed into the summer split. In this video today, we're going to be going over the changes they made for summer, if they make sense, if we like them, don't like them, whatever. So drop a like if you guys do enjoy this video. I would appreciate that a ton. Subscribe to stay up to date on all my latest content. Consider checking out the Patreon. First link in the description below if you want to get early access to my videos before they go live on YouTube. With that being said, let's get right into this one. So first up, the move we have is this one was actually reported by Alejandro Gomes. He says, sources, jungler Xerxes is expected to sign with Astralis GG LEC for the next summer split, and he will be the new jungler of the Danish organization. Xerxes played for Immortals in the LCS. Now, this is interesting for two ways. Obviously, there's the whole Astralis piece, and we'll get into that for in a second, but there's also the Immortal side of things where, they didn't have a jungle opening. I don't know exactly where Immortals is going to be going, but if we assume they are still going to play Arrow, and they're going to be playing Ignar. They obviously have Power of Evil in the mid lane, who's a resident, and Revenge, who's a resident. So they do need a resident jungler. Now, they could start Wild Turtle again. They could go get a resident AD carry, and maybe that would open them up to import junglers, but say they go with Arrow. As far as the resident jungle options go, I have heard, obviously, Chad, I think, is their academy jungler or their amateur jungler. People are really, really excited about this guy. He's honestly a pretty hyped up prospect. And slotting in Chad could be cool for Immortals. Maybe that would go good for him. Maybe it'd go bad. I'm always a little bit worried about, slotting in rookies to, teams that aren't very good and hoping it doesn't destroy their development in future, but it'd also be exciting to see him get to the LCS. There's also Sven Skaren, who has been playing with the C9 kind of internal scrim team. Maybe Immortals wants to go with Sven Skaren. And then there's also been rumors of Pabu. I know he was tweeting about being in Los Angeles or being in the United States, stuff like that. Who knows? He's a Osh jungler who's obviously, if you're Osh, you're a resident in North America. That could be an option. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. I think any one of those three guys would be interesting. But obviously it won't be Xerxes. He's moving on over to Astralis. Now, on the Astralis side, we had obviously heard that they were going to be, and I think they even announced themselves that they were going to be replacing White Knight and Promise Q. So that made me at least think that those were the only changes they were going to be making. Now, obviously, in place of White Knight, they went with Vizichachi, who is 28 years old, and I think by the time Summer Split starts, he's going to be 29. So I was really critical of that. Is Vizichachi even better than White Knight right now? Maybe even probably. But, for Astralis, a team that I'm pretty sure they just finished 10th place in the Spring Split, they're probably going to be a bottom 7, 8, 9, 10 team again. Does it make a ton of sense to be bringing in a 28 or 29-year-old top laner? Whatever. Get past that whole argument. And again, I'm not even the biggest proponent of age in esports mattering that much. I think experience matters way more than age. And I think players can play deep into their 20s, if not into their 30s, still at a very, very high level. But Vizichachi is a guy who's been out of the LEC for a couple years. You kind of know what you're getting with him. He's a grizzled veteran. He's been around forever. I just don't know if it makes sense. Now, Astralis, I do think, should be going young and trying to get prospects. And, every prospect is like a coin flip. So you need to flip a coin as many times as you can to finally get some good players. So you need to take a lot of roster spots on those coin flips. But you do still need some veterans. You need them to show them the ropes. You don't just want to throw 5 rookies out there. That's just going to be an absolute mess. That's going to be horrible. But Astralis already has some veterans on their team. So I don't really get it. Get us to the jungle where we have Xerxes here. And Xerxes is 22 years old. He's kind of a veteran. He's definitely been around the block a little bit. You kind of know what you're getting with him. I think he was okay for Immortals. I don't think he was amazing, but I don't think he was disgustingly bad. I don't think Xerxes is the reason why Immortals was, the worst place team in the LCS or anything like that. And overall, I think Xerxes is going to be an upgrade over Zanzara. I know Zanzara is 25, so they're getting a couple years younger in the jungle. They're also probably just getting better overall in the jungle. So in some ways, that does make sense. Now, Still, I probably would have rather seen Astralis go for an ERL jungler, or like a young ERL jungler with a ton of talent and promise and potential, because like Europe, one of their big advantages is having this ERL system. You have this amazing, huge, massive pipeline of young talent getting to compete on really, really high levels in leagues. You get awesome scouting opportunities. You get, people really just playing against each other all the time. You have this amazing, amazing system. And like in North America, we are so jealous of the ERLs. We wish we had something like that. It would be so amazing if we could have a system like that. It would help out with scouting. It would, help grassroots development of players, and it would just help in so many different ways. And you have that over in Europe. And again, you only have 10 teams. There's only 50 players in the LEC. And you have one team that, is consistently one of the worst teams in the LEC, and it's consistently not taking advantage of those ERL pipelines to get like young, interesting, exciting players. Now, obviously, it's a little bit hard for them because they don't have a ton of money, or / they're just not willing to spend any money. And also, they have such a bad reputation at this point that the best prospects don't even want to go to them. But still, there's got to be some kind of mid-level prospect or something that would be interested in going to you. So I actually kind of like the pickup of Xerxes in the jungle, but I don't really like it after they already have Vizichachi, or after they already have Kabe. Like, if they would have went out and got a young top laner and then picked up Xerxes, I think that would make sense. But if you're getting a veteran in Vizichachi in the top lane, a veteran in Xerxes in the jungle, a veteran in Kabe as your AD carry, yes, you have Daor in the mid lane. Yes, he is kind of your prospect that you're kind of building around and hoping he pops off, but whether you think Daor is that good or whatever, I don't necessarily know. But then obviously there's still the support position. Hey, all this could be wrong. We could still change it all. Let's see who they get. They get Jonghoon. Astralis have completed their League of Legends European Championship roster as support. Jonghoon is expected to play for them next split. Now, obviously, this is a guy who I've never heard of. I don't know if you guys had heard of him previously. They say the offseason started early for Astralis. This is from Wooloo as well, Broik Seeger. The departure of support, Promise Q, and White Knight, since they had already acquired Vizichachi, they also parted ways with Zanzara recently. Zanzara tweeted out that he was willing, or he was able to talk with other teams and stuff. This reunites Vizichachi, Xerxes, and Kave, as all of them played with Splice in 2019. That's really, really funny. That this team, 3 of these guys played together in 2019, and now they're coming back together in summer 2022 to play on the worst team in the LEC. That just shows you how these guys are all veterans, how these guys have all been here, done that. And yes, they were good for Splice back in the day, and maybe they'll be good for Astralis once again, but do those moves make sense for Astralis right now? I don't think so. It's not like you're getting, Kabe in his, at his peak. It's not like you're getting Xerxes at his peak. It's not like you're getting Vizichachi at his peak. Strange, weird moves to me. But this article I thought was very, very interesting because they say Xerxes isn't the only jungler that Astralis considered. They considered X7 jungler Haru and Fnatic TQ jungler Maxi were considered for the position. And then they also say Jonghoon is going to complete the roster in the support position similar to the jungle position. Astralis had considered many other players like Advian, Rux, and DOS. So it does seem like Astralis had taken a look at a bunch of other players. Now, did they decide that those players were too expensive from their buyouts or their salaries or whatever? Did those players not want to come to Astralis? Or did Astralis just decide that this was their best roster, this was their best way to go? I don't know. I'm not exactly sure. And like I said, I don't know much about this Jonghoon guy. It seems like some people tweeting are actually pretty excited about him. He is a 22-year-old Korean support. He played with GC Busan Ascension in 2019. I don't even know what that is. He played with Element Mystic in 2020, and then he played with Fredit Brion Challengers in 2021. I don't know. They don't have him on anything for Spring Split of 2022. I don't know if Wooloo's thing says any of that. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Was he just not playing at all in 2022? I'm not exactly sure. But anyway, some people do seem excited about him. This is a guy who actually doesn't have a ton of experience at the highest level, which is good and bad. He doesn't have experience at the highest level, so you don't know exactly what you're getting. But like I said, I don't think age is as big of a factor as experience. This is an inexperienced guy that could potentially grow, get developed, and mold into a very, very good player. So I actually like this pickup. I like both these pickups. I think Xerxes is a good pickup for Astralis, and I think Jonghoon could potentially be a good pickup for Astralis. But still, when I'm looking at their roster, this is just not the composition or the ideal roster that I would come up with for a 10th place team that's been a bottom place team for a while. If you just keep going with these weird mixes of veterans and random players, you're going to stay at the bottom. If you go for some young prospects and a couple of them turn out, then you have really, really good young prospects. Then you bring in some veterans to piece it together. Then you could actually be a good team at some point in the future. But you have like mid-level to bad prospects, mid-level to bad veterans. You're just going to be a mid-level to bad team forever. I don't get it. Astralis is really, really weird. I don't know if they're going to be staying in the LEC or what their plan is for the future, but I know a lot of people, at this point would not mind seeing them gone. But that is pretty much it for this video today, guys. Definitely drop a like if you did enjoy it. I would appreciate that so much. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think about these pickups for Astralis or about the Astralis summer 2022 roster in general. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions. Subscribe, save today, and all my latest content. Hopefully catch you guys in the next one. But until then, peace.